Over now to Mark Meirowitz, who's a professor at the State University of New York Maritime College. He's also a political analyst. Welcome. If some of our viewers are tuning in and thinking, I'm not really sure who this guy is, Ron DeSantis, how would you describe him and his key policies?
Well, I'd just like to start by saying that no Florida politician has ever been elected president of the United States. Let's just start with that. And then he has Donald Trump. Now, of course, he's the governor of Florida. He's put into place a number of very conservative legislation provisions. He has had a knockout fight back and forth with Disney. And he's very conservative. In the vaccination period of COVID, he said nobody needs to get vaccinated in Florida. I'm not accepting any mandates. So he's very, very conservative, very far on the right, but he's taking on Donald Trump. And that is something that I believe at this time is still very, very formidable. And I'm not so sure he can achieve it at this time. I think the most interesting point I read on Twitter, and you mentioned that they're going to launch this on Twitter, which is actually pretty unusual, very strange, but that was the platform of freedom of speech, and many conservatives use it and so forth. Someone commented it as follows. I think this encapsulates everything. Today is the day Ron DeSantis emerges from his cocoon, blossoms into a beautiful butterfly, flutters around the forest of Elon Musk, and then is eaten by a big buzzard named Donald Trump. In other words, very serious Republican conservatives believe, perhaps, that DeSantis will be out there, there'll be a big push, and then Trump will overwhelm him.
One of the quotes that we've already mentioned in a previous report of how DeSantis is being pitched is that he's Donald Trump without the drama. I would imagine a lot of Trump supporters quite enjoy the drama. What do you think DeSantis' best approach is here? Does he try and portray himself as kind of, Trump light, or does he try to distance himself from the former president?
Well, Donald Trump is the icon of the Republican right. He has a tremendous base. What he needs to fix is personality. I think your commentator made that point. That's really important. He has a real personality problem. He had a very testy encounter with a reporter about vaccinations. The reporter was asking about his vaccination policy in Florida, and he really was very, very demeaning. He's got a very harsh personality. Trump, for all of his deficiencies, people who meet him, they like him. I mean, he's very controversial, but as a person, people who have met him like him. And this is the same type of thing we saw with JFK, Harry Truman, Barack Obama, and many other presidents, very likable. So if DeSantis cannot fix that, he is finished. He's never going to make it. Trump, for all of his deficiencies. Now, and the other point is, Trump has a lot of obstacles, too. He's got all these lawsuits pending. He's even found liable in the lawsuit involving a sexual assault. He has pending indictments in New York, possibly in Georgia. They're investigating his classified documents. All of that's out there. With all of that, however, Trump remains, and I've been reading a lot of the Twitter posts, and the diehard Trump people are not yet convinced that DeSantis is their guy. So, I mean, if Trump falters, DeSantis is there to take it over. But if Trump doesn't falter, if he keeps on in place, even with all of these detriments, I think DeSantis will have a very hard time, because in order for him to prevail, he needs to overtake and also criticize and fight against Trump. And that is something that could just boomerang against him with the base, with the conservative, very far-right base. And by the way, the last point is on Disney. I don't see how the Disney battle, where he was fighting Disney back and forth, America's the United States, really, Florida, Disney, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be a big issue where that's going to catapult him ahead. And the point that he made about Ukraine, I thought showed very, very a great lack of knowledge and understanding of foreign affairs. He walked it back where he said that Ukraine was a territorial dispute, but that showed a lack of understanding. In order to be president of the United States, you really have to have really good understanding, at least of the basic issues, because that's going to be your job. Very last point, Biden. If Biden's a nominee, is Biden going to be a strong nominee? So there are a lot of factors here in play, a lot of moving parts. There's Trump, there's Biden, and maybe DeSantis can move ahead. Also, there are other Republican candidates for president as well. Nikki Haley, Mike Pompeo, and others, Mike Pence. So they're also in the wings as well. So they're waiting to see whether or not Trump is going to falter as well, because Trump is the gray eminence, the great icon, the former president. So very complicated politics.
Plenty of bases covered there. Appreciate it. My guest, Mark Meirowitz, professor at the State University of New York Maritime College. Thank you.